come sta?
Benissimo, grazie. Che energia incredibile. Io sono abituato a parlare a migliaia di medici, tutti addormentati con l'iPhone, e qua è incredibile, è il primo congresso a cui partecipo dove... Devo stare attento a come saluto perché...
No, per carità. Professor Riccardi, I was really looking forward to hear your speech and what you're talking about because you're gonna tell us how to stay forever young, and I can't wait. I think it's the desire of everyone. So
yeah, we cannot improve perfection like in your case, but we'll try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prego.
Thank you. We had an amazing introduction from Nerio and the team on the importance where we are today and the revolution that is happening in therapeutics, in wellness, and in healthspan medicine. I think healthy longevity is now an objective recognized by everyone, even in the United States. There is now a big campaign to try to make Americans even healthier. But exercise has been the pillar and the central pillar of the healthspan ecosystem from ever. The challenge now and the real revolution that we will witness in the next several years, and is already happening in the vision of Nerio and the Technogym team, is to combine wellness and healthspan medicine, to close the circle, because there is so much you can do just with exercise, but there is so much more that we can do when you combine artificial intelligence, predictive diagnostic, early marker, intercept disease progression, neutralizing the risk factor that develops with wrong lifestyle or insufficiency of protective molecules and lack of exercise. So if you think about lifespan, it's a combination of health span and unhealthy lifespan. So you sum the two and you have the complete lifespan of the human race. If you see the objective, like we talk about the blue zones, we have one in Italy, in Ogliastra, in Sardinia, Okinawa, worldwide there are examples or where you can engineer health span and how you can take them as example. But if you think that the blue zone target may be 100 years or more, now the reality, the top country are Japan, South Korea, Singapore, with life expectancy of 85 years. But then you see what happened to the United States, for example. We are the country where we spend the most in healthcare, 4.7 trillion a year, 20% of the GDP of the United States. And you have only 66 years of healthy lifespan. And then if you want to arrive to the blue zone target, you have 34 years of opportunity for improvement, if you wish. So if you see, there are a internet-based ranking by nation for healthy lifespan, and you see that you have good examples. Singapore is particularly interesting because it was nowhere 20 years ago, but there has been an incredible attempt and strategy for healthspan engineering, and now is in the top 3. Italy is not bad, top 10. United States, 69, we could do definitely better, is the only developed country where healthy lifespan has decreased since 2010, despite we are the one spending the most in healthcare. Why? Because it's a for-profit system that you become a point of interest. When you get sick, see a doctor, go to the hospital. There is no investment in preventing that people become patients and enter this massive 4.7 trillion a year industry. So we also have countries that have even major challenges, but you can check the whole rankings online if you wish. So what's the problem? Chronic conditions have developed so that now in the United States we have 95% of adults over 60 years of age that have at least one chronic disease condition, and almost 79 of them have 2 or more. These are the same comorbidity, if you wish, that then if you get a virus and you don't do exercise and you have these comorbidities may become even a bigger problem, like we learned dramatically during the COVID pandemic. These are all the disease linked to unhealthy aging, from kidney disease, cardiovascular, you see the name in the slide. But what we can do, how can we engineer healthy lifespan, healthspan, how we can change healthcare as we know it today, preventing that people become patients, reducing the healthcare cost, and generating trillions in global economic benefit, because there is a paper in Nature Aging that you may read on the health economics of longevity and healthspan, where it shows that you can save $38 trillion to the global economy for every year that you add in healthy lifespan. So we used to think, who can afford to live longer? You cannot afford living longer sick, because in this category of over 60, which will double in the next 2 decades, you cannot go spending from 20% to 40% of the GDP in healthcare. It's much better preventing people from becoming patients as long as you can. So healthspan engineering is based on big steps, like you have the opportunity to use predictive diagnostic that we used to think about early diagnosis when you do a mammograph to detect a little lump or a colonoscopy for a little polyp and catch things early. Predictive diagnostic allow you to intercept risk factor years or decades before they become a problem. So this is allowed by digital diagnostic, artificial intelligence, wearable, and systems that are getting cheaper and cheaper and more accessible and affordable. Then you have to block and reverse disease progression at the early stages. We even have treatment. With Nerio, we have now formed a biotech Ion Healthspan to use advanced cell therapy to reverse disease progression in chronic kidney disease and other. But then, after a successful cellular therapy or treatment, you have the problem of preventing disease recurrence after an initially successful treatment. So you close the circle, because primary prevention and preventing disease recurrence have all the same base of strategies. And exercise is a central pillar of all of this. You can use it to prevent, to block and reverse disease progression, to treat, like exercise as a medicine, and to prevent disease recurrence. So what are the risk factors? Some are visible, like the obesity epidemic worldwide. There are countries like United States who are very good in keeping the number very high. But when I come to Italy, they say, well, we don't have a problem in Italy. We have the Mediterranean diet, and we are ranking number 10 in the top 10. But actually, if you look, Italy, child obesity is at the highest level in Europe. So if you think that our children are the reflection of what will happen in 10, 20 years, we have a red flag also in Italy. And we really have to be proactive and don't wait to reach the levels of United States or other countries. So what are instead invisible risk factors are those that if you don't detect, you cannot realize. If you don't know them, you cannot neutralize them, you cannot fight, and you cannot prevent eventual disease progression. So from silent inflammation because of excess of omega-6 in your diet, insulin resistance, that is something 1/3 of people in this room probably have and doesn't know to have, peak of hyperglycemia, glucose level that go up and oscillates, that now with the wearable glucose sensor, that is a technology we developed for diabetes, but is actually incredibly useful if someone can use occasionally, wear it for 1 week, 1 month, you can start realizing which one are the meals or the drinks that you have to avoid, because every time the glucose level go above 140, you start developing risk factor for neuropathy and problems to come in 10 years. Then you have vitamin D deficiency, big problem, and deficiency of other protective molecules that decrease naturally with age, like polyphenols, certain activators. So we develop a perfect disease predisposing storm, a perfect storm predisposing this unhealthy longevity because of the evolution of our diet and lifestyle, from sedentary lifestyle, excess pro-inflammatory omega-6 in the diet, refined foods and carbohydrates, and decreased physical activity, decreased protective factors like omega-3, polyphenols, vitamin D3, certain activators. So I always ask to our students, like, which one of these factors is the worst? Is the super alcoholic bottle of whiskey? Is the hamburger with French fries, fast food? Is the pack of cigarettes? Are the cakes and excess sweets and simple sugar in a lot of products? And actually, the worst factor for healthy lifespan is the chair. This has been shown. You should stand up if you sit more than 20 minutes, bad things may happen. So every 20 minutes, we should all stand up, and not as a standing ovation for me, but for your health. Then I appreciate as well, of course. But so, exactly. So exercise is really key. Activates also not just the sirtuin that are the longevity molecules, but also the endocannabinoid system that is our protection from anxiety, depression, very good for your mood, and prevents a lot of the psychopathological problem associated with accelerated aging. So people think exercise is good to have a strong body and be fit, but it's actually very important also for the mind and well-being. It activates sirtuins, activates the endocannabinoid system, and prevent psychopathological problems. In addition, it's been shown that exercise is a medicine, has been the most effective way to prevent diabetes. It beated actually in a randomized trial metformin. So exercise was better than a medicine, reducing diabetes by 58% instead of 31% with metformin. And that has been the first example of an exercise regimen that is better than medicine, than drug, or exercise as medicine. Other things, physical activity is better than drugs, reduce the risk of all non-communicable diseases, increase physical and mental health, and unlike drugs, doesn't have side effects. So the central, we talk about the VO max as the maximum capacity of our body to utilize oxygen during intense exercise. And this is a base for everything, it's a base for wellness. But alone is not enough, but it's really important. Besides improving strength, bone density, reducing metabolic risk, improving sensitivity to the action of insulin, neuroprotective effect, and antidepressant function, as we discussed before. So, in reality, what do we have to do? There is no magic bullet or magic remedy. It's an ecosystem. Healthspan is an ecosystem. And it's not just exercise, because it's a central pillar, but alone is not sufficient. You have the example of the American football player, not soccer, football, that is an example of physical strength and over-exercise, but terrible nutrition and other risk factors. So you actually have decreased lifespan in football player, increased cardiovascular risk. So you have to put it together with healthy nutrition, predictive diagnostic, mental health, and supplemental with factors that decrease with age and that you can take to modulate inflammation and try to improve your general health. So modern GLP-1 receptor agonist, I know nobody heard about Ozempic, but is a real new therapeutic revolution that we are having. They can prevent diabetes with Mounjaro has been preventing 93% of diabetes. But again, if you don't do it in combination with exercise, you're going in the wrong direction. You lose muscle, you have sarcopenia, and then you rebound. As you stop taking these pills, these injections, you go back in weight, and the diabetes incidence goes back as well. So you have really to think there is no magic bullet. If you think to take a vitamin or a supplement or a Mounjaro or an Ozempic can solve all your problem, you're going to go into a big disappointment, because you will regain weight and restart the trends towards disease progression. So I don't have time, but I wrote these two books that are in 650 pages. We'll go a little more in depth, all the concepts that we briefly touched today. But it's really important to think that we're moving towards a new revolution that is combining Healthspan medicine and wellness. And like while I'm talking and writing books, there is someone, the usual visionary pioneer, Nerio Alessandre, is already implementing this vision and this revolution that will come in the years to come. So I'm thank you, Nerio, inventor of wellness. Thank you, Technogym. Thank you to the wonderful family. Thank you to the Wellness Foundation, Technogym team, and all of you here. Thank you.